but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right. Happy Friday to everyone out there in radio, YouTube, and Facebook world.
Happy Friday.
This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip, and I'm joined by Lola of Lola's Love Life, which we are certainly going to get into today, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I'm laughing to keep from having the disgust on my face because the truth of the matter is that we bear the black tax of Will's foolishness.
We don't talk about Jada, no. We don't talk about Jada.
So, Jada Pinkett Smith.
We don't talk.
So, Jada, that we don't talk about, she who shall remain nameless, is at it again with the mass manipulation. She is a master at it. And I literally had someone, Lola, tell me, I realize now it's Jada. I didn't realize it was Jada. You didn't? Surely you jest. So what I want to go on the record as saying before we start this segment is Jada ain't boo-boo. She ain't been boo-boo.
We don't talk about
and she and she has literally created a situation where let me say it this way. How can someone who has no honor now be honorable enough to inspire a slap that can be justified? Like, I don't understand. I really don't get it because now, let's just keep it 100. She does the red table talk. Now I know y'all listen to it, that mess.
I do like it. Yeah.
I don't fool around with it. At all. I think Jada, her mama, and her kids, they all weirdos. I think they all weirdos. I think they all crazy. And her mama too. I ain't scared. Her mama too. We all know that when Jada and Will were going through a really, really, really bad time, that's when her mama moved in. Now, how you gonna fix your marriage with your mama? Like, child. And let me say this. For those of you who are out here justifying the slap, talking about he was defending her honor, she don't have no honor. She don't have no honor, and I'm saying it like I mean it. She don't have no honor because I don't understand how her head is off limits, but her vagina is not. I don't get it.
Oh, the entanglement.
And this ain't the first time. And let me be real clear, because, we sip power to pour truth on this show, and I'm going to tell you what Jesus loved. This ain't nothing but the truth. The reason Will was so hurt from the quote-unquote entanglement, Lola, is because this open marriage that they had was same-sex. It was same-sex. He was hurt because she had another man in her bed in his home where he paid the more. Because, Jada ain't got no money.
Oh, yeah, that's rude. Yeah.
She don't have no money. I mean, ain't no money. She ain't made no real. Listen, Jada has not been relevant since Low Down Dirty Shame when we thought she was cute. Now, I know she did the little Star Wars thing, but girl, bye.
Girls trip.
She needed Tiffany Haddish. She needed her and Regina.
Mm-hmm. So she needed her cast.
Because Jada can't carry a show. She can't. I mean, I know some people that like Jada. That's all right if y'all like Jada. I mean, y'all like chitlins too. So,
I do.
yeah, all of it's coming out. And I just want to say, This is the problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is people justifying BS. I can't say the real word because you know my mom be watching. This is the problem. The problem is justifying BS. There is absolutely no justification whatsoever for walking up to someone on international scene television and smacking them across their face because they said words you did not like.
Well, he hurt himself as well, because a night when we should be talking about you receiving your first Oscar, we're talking about a slap. Because I, being a thespian,
Thespian, I understand, in the arts. Go ahead.
in the
I
arts,
just wasn't expecting you to say you were a thespian. Go ahead.
It was a great show, and it has.
It was a tremendous show.
Tremendous show. Regina Hall killed, and she, you know,
Love her.
It was a really good show. Beyonce's performance at the beginning was dynamic.
Yes.
Even how they incorporated.
I didn't understand the yellow though. Was she saying she was a tennis ball? Like what was all the yellow?
No, and I'm not even going to try to explain that either. I thought it was just nice. I mean, I like the.
So they went to Compton, to the actual court that they originally trained on. When the dad would say we're going to the club, and they would go to the Compton tennis court. So Beyonce lemoned it out. I guess she still. Maybe this is an homage to Lemonade.
Like Lemonade too.
You know, maybe it's because it was a great album. It was a great, and I'm not even a Beyonce fan. It was a great album.
So here's the thing.
She was just yellow, like a tennis ball. It was weird.
I eat chitlins on Christmas,
and you're supposed to eat them on the New Year. But go ahead.
I eat them on the New Year.
So you double down.
I do. But that's the only
This
time.
is too much for this show. That's too much.
And I like Jada as an actress. Now
you like Jada as what?
I like Jada as an actress. I do. Yeah.
Well, you can't like her as a mom, so go ahead.
So, but my point in saying all of that is the fact that slap was a distraction of how well the Oscars was that night. Like no one's talking about what we should be talking about.
That's right.
And I've said this.
Questlove won an Oscar
and we
for
not even
Summer of
talking
Soul,
about that.
which is an incredible documentary. Samuel L. I did not even know Samuel L. Jackson got an Oscar.
Yes, for Lifetime Achievement.
You know, because so let me be honest. I wasn't aware of Will Packer being the producer. I knew he was the producer. Let me dial that back a little bit. I did know that he was the producer of the show. I did know that he had produced it with an all-black production team. So I kind of felt like they kind of gave us a token of Will Packer. Not that he is a token, but that was their olive branch to us, because I was ignorant to the fact of an all-black production team. So I don't follow the Oscars like many people do not. We have just gotten so sickened by the way they have treated us that, you know, I too was one of the people that repelled from the Oscars.
Well, I think that they're separating themselves, because everybody knows about the Emmys, right? The Emmys did not nominate anything black this year.
No.
I mean, just completely
right.
It was tone deaf, right? And so the Oscars definitely wanted to be clear on separating themselves from those expectations.
That's right.
Or reputation, right?
Right.
So, and I'm here for it. Considering we don't have reparations, when whatever I take from you is my 40 acres and the mule. So, but when you're 13% of the country, we can't afford for a Will Smith and Chris Rock situation to happen, because now everything that we want them to stop using against us in stereotypes will indirectly start justifying, well, we can't do that. You know what happened the last time we had the black man this and the black, you know, and so there's so much responsibility. And I hate to say that, but it is, and we all are responsible for our culture. in a way that we represent everyone. It's like when your mama used to say, when you walk out this house, you represent everybody, your whole family.
That's right.
So you need to,
your ancestors
you need to check
and
yourself.
everybody.
Yeah. And so that's what, that's why I was mortified, was basically because one small incident and mistake sets us back years now, right? It sets
And
us
why?
back
Because of the black tax. We are taxed as a people with everything someone who resembles you does.
And I'm gonna give you one thing to even for it to hit home. Like Dallas County was the first county to have a large group of black women sit on
The bench, right, as judges.
Let me
Yeah,
say
the
this. I hope
judiciary.
the judges are listening. Hey, we don't need y'all doing things because you feel like you entitled. Because the first one that messes up will set us back 40 years.
Vonda Bailey, she talking to you.
And I'm just saying that because that's what they're waiting on. Saying, hey, well, we put them in office, and
Well,
guess
Vonda
what? They
Bailey
messed
gonna
up.
give it to you.
And since they messed up,
it's a couple of others that have already done that, and they've tried to shield them.
And since they messed up, we're gonna have to take these seats away because they're not.
Well,
doing
they're
a good
working on
job.
it. They're working on it. If you know anything about Dallas County in particular, it was 52% 4 years ago. Now it's 51. You know, but
And we can't even make little mistakes like forgetting to put the sign in and some documents and all that. Like they will take that and drag you with it. You know, we just can't do it.
And I think what's happening here, you know, I say these kind of things, then people say to me, "Oh no, that's not true." No, it is true. There is somebody that was up for a promotion. There was the leadership was a Will Smith fan. They are now considering, can they really give that person that job because that person is a black person that they like, and they're saying, well, I mean, you know, he's a nice guy.
Slap somebody in a meeting.
It's exactly what happens. Y'all say that I'm trying to give it too much gravitas. That's untrue. The truth of the matter is that we are all being tasked with the entire reputation of the race. Now, Bill Maher made the statement that he was talking to a very well-known, high-profile African-American celebrity, and because he didn't get his permission, he wasn't going to call his name. And he said, what would have happened if Chris Rock would have hit him back? And he said he couldn't because he had the whole race on his shoulders. That's unfair, it's unkind, but it is truthful. And so because of that, Chris Rock couldn't fight back. But now, I want to really examine what happened, because that's what we do on the Black Tea Sip. So give me a like. We're going to get into Lola's love life as well. But listen, we are going to completely unpack the slap. This is Car with the Black Tea Sip. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in a minute.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
I am Tiffany Burks, Democratic candidate running to become your next Tarrant County District Attorney. Our county is at a defining moment where we decide who we are as a community and in our criminal justice system. With the mounting distrust of our justice system and of each other, far too many citizens question the fairness of the justice system. But we can bridge this growing divide and rebuild public trust by electing someone who has the courtroom and managerial experience needed to lead the district attorney's office, someone who has a reputation for being fair, and someone who is guided by an unwavering commitment to fairness, equity, and justice for everyone. And that someone is me. So vote for me, Tiffany Burks, during the Democratic primary. Early voting begins February 14th through the 25th, and Election Day is March 1st. A vote for Tiffany Burks is a vote for people, not politics.
All right, and we're back. This is Corbett the Black Tea Sip. I'm joined by the lovely Lola of Lola's Love Life, a segment that we decided to do because I don't know anything about internet dating, and because I know nothing about internet dating, I messed her up very badly. But before the break, we were talking about the infamous slap. Let me also say this before we unpack this, because, you know, I like to completely delve into a subject. And what happened with the slap? So Chris Rock, Angela, do we have that video? I want to use the video. Can we pull up the video? If Chris Rock makes a statement about Jada's bald head. Now on the Red Table Talk, she said she had alopecia. Let's keep it 100. She had her hair cut short, but Jada got enough of Will's money to have newborn baby hair pulled out and sewn into a wig if that's what she want to do. So Jada chose the look that she had, and you could see her head was dark. It was not slick. It wasn't bald. It was not. She has hair. And let me go one step further. I do not know this, but you know, my gut tells me she has COVID alopecia because she talked about having COVID. They are saying now it's a thing. It is a thing where you lose some people. The hair thins out, and then 3 to 6 months later, you start to see your hair go back to its pre-COVID state. Now, some people do not get their hair back, but Jada had hair. She was what we used to call old school college cut. So the statement is made. Do we have the video ready? Okay, we're gonna pull up the video. I know y'all have seen it, but to just indulge me so that I can unpack the slap.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. If she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
And that's hard for me to watch. It's hard for me to watch because Will Smith is, I'm sorry, mama, bitch ass N-word in this moment. Now, I always thought, in the words of Jada Pinkett Smith, these are not these are not my words, these are her words, that he's bubblegum popcorn. She said that during the Barbara Walters interview when they got together and they were public about their, and to use Lola's words, intentional love. And she said, and Barbara Walters talked about how good looking Will was, and had Jada just been hit by a thunderbolt and was, and she wanted to know how did she feel about it and about him and these moments. And they talked about they went off to Cabo, and Barbara said, I don't want to know about it because the little white lady was scared they were about to get down on the show. And she said then, well, I'm into real rap, and Will was just like bubblegum popcorn. Now those are her words. Many years ago.
Our parents just don't understand it. She had a thing for Tupac.
But let's be honest, he only had one good song. It's called Summertime. I mean, that's it. I mean,
parents just don't understand.
Lola young, y'all. She young. She like all the little. She like chitlins. We just gonna move on. So
it's a delicacy.
Well, so are cockroaches in some parts of the country. I mean, in some parts of the world. So to that end, we see Will walk up there. So my soror Rachel says, where was security? Well, let Will Packer tell it, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. They thought because Chris went off script. Now, there are conflicting stories. There are conflicting stories as to Amy Schumer wrote the joke, There's a conflicting story as to the joke was already on the prompter, and there's a conflicting story as to him going off script. This morning, I got a couple of texts saying, Coy, they say he went off script. Well, they also say they asked him to leave. TMZ came out right after the Will Packer interview this morning with TJ on Good Morning America and said lies. Capitalized lies. Because Will Packer's job is to protect the Oscars. Mm-hmm. And at this point, Whoopi Goldberg is protecting the Oscars. Mm-hmm. Now, no one is protecting Chris.
Well, I will say this. So Will Packer says that everything that has been said on how the slap was encountered is that Chris Rock went off script, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the story today. Today, that's the story.
But Will Packer and Black Academy board are saying that that's not true.
Right.
Okay.
No. Will Packer is saying Chris went off script.
Okay.
Prior to that, they're saying Chris did not go off script, and there's even a rumor that says that Will knew the joke was going to be there before the joke. Now I don't know that I really believe that.
I don't know about that one.
But I do believe is that Chris Rock had a right to make a joke.
Right, and he's a comedian. And he's hosted the Oscars twice, like multiple times. So they trust his judgment in what to say.
That's right.
On stage. Backstory about G.I. Jane.
So Demi Moore
played her.
So remember you and I had this conversation, because I don't know. Did you ever see the movie Lola?
No, but I mean,
okay.
No.
So I watched it. It was a good movie. It was during Demi Moore's heyday. So let me tell you what's wrong with this whole, she's got alopecia. Now, let me say this. I have been an advocate for black women hair. I've had my own hair struggles as a black woman. I don't know anyone who has not. You know, those that say, oh, that never happened. I mean, I have a very dear friend that, black folks would call it water wavy hair or good hair. And she talks about getting products where her hair doesn't draw up completely on her head and she's biracial. Black women have hair struggles because the beauty industry, shout out to New Standard, what's up, Autumn? The beauty industry is not made for us. And our hair type and our textures and what we need, okay? So black women have hair struggles. I am not making light of that. I am a black woman who totally understands that. But Jada Pinkett Smith is not experiencing alopecia because she's fighting for her life. She don't have cancer. Okay, that's not the part. And she's not stone bald. Right. I mean, the girl got hair on her head. Is what we used to call college cut. So let's be honest about what's happening. When Demi Moore did G.I. Jane, she cut all of her hair off. Demi Moore being part, they kill me with this, part Native American, which is where she says she got her long, luxurious jet black hair. She cut it off for the role. And she was celebrated at the time for defying the established norms of beauty. She, like Jada, and that is what Jada was channeling, whether Jada wants to acknowledge it or not. She, like Jada, did the red carpet with her haircut as a buzz cut, very close to her head, and talked about it being freeing and how much she loved it. So, this idea that this was a dig on Jada is a lie. That is not true. Demi Moore was celebrated for that role. Jada was rocking it. She looked amazing. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And that heifer knew it. Her outfit, her stance, her jewelry, she was prepared for the look. The idea that you can't take a joke?
Yeah, and it wasn't, so looking at the clip, I feel like the most embarrassing person is Will Smith. Like, he looks like he's just he's completely missed it, right? He completely missed the joke because he was focused on someone talking about his wife.
He didn't miss it. He didn't miss it. So? He laughed. Play it again, Angelo. Cut it off right before he gets to the walks up. Play it again. That's what we do on this.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a.
He's laughing. He didn't miss the joke.
Right.
He thought the joke was funny. So let me say this for all the real ones out there. You know, and some of my A1 since day one watch this show. Some of y'all have known me. Some of y'all have known me almost 50 years, May 25th. Real ones, I don't know a man who would decide to disrespect another man in that way. Because let's keep it 100 now. And the phone lines are open, 214-556-6239. You can call in. If a man slaps another man with an open hand, he is treating him like a itch.
Well, first of all, let's be real clear. You don't go up to somebody and slap them unless you know that's what you can do, right? So, like, if Rick Ross was making that joke, I'm not saying that he would not have gone up
Well,
there.
I don't think you can do that. I think you can say he slapped Chris Rock, he won't slap Chris Tucker.
Yeah, he won't slap Chris Tucker. He wouldn't slap Samuel L. Jackson. He wouldn't, it was just...
But you know what? It's not even who it was as much as where it was. Because a man, open hand, you have to understand, as a man, open hand slap another man, that is the greatest form of disrespect. You are saying to him, I think you are, and I'm treating you like a bitch. So, especially in the black community, no. We don't play those kind of games. That is off limits. He would have done better. Go up and punch him. But let's be clear. He knew he could get away with it because he glanced over his shoulder, walking away, and he's buttoning up his jacket. You do that because you know they're not coming. Now, again, he wouldn't have slapped Steve Harvey, Dale Hughley.
No, he wouldn't have.
Cedric the Entertainer. Rest his soul, Bernie Mac.
Oh, no, yeah.
He wouldn't have slapped him. But I'm telling you, he wouldn't have slapped Chris Tucker. I don't think he would have slapped Cat Williams.
I know. I don't think. So I feel like even if he was offended, there was a better way to handle it, and he just didn't. And, I mean, it was childish.
But he wasn't offended. Let me tell you what happened. I used to be married. I got a husband. I got a man. If you with somebody, really with them, you can look at them and they know that you're unhappy. All she did was look at him and say, you want me to call August? It was one of them. Look, and he was like, oh, I got to hear and do something. Because Jada was on the Red Table Talk, and I don't even watch the show, and I know this, talking about how
she got the hardest job
she didn't
tonight?
feel secure. Okay, thank you. She didn't feel secure.
And his wife are both
she didn't
nominated.
feel safe. It doesn't mean that she thinks that somebody gonna run up on her and beat her down and Will gonna stand there and say run. It's not that. It's saying her heart doesn't feel protected. But Jada is toxic. Jada is a trash human. People about to be upset. I'm gonna go ahead and say it out loud. Jada is trash because I remember when Tupac was murdered, she didn't want Will to touch her and went into a deep depression. He was talking about how he was so upset about Jada being so upset about Tupac's death because Tupac was her man. Will was her meal ticket. Jada ain't ish. I mean, I don't knock the hustle. I don't knock the hustle, but she's a weirdo. Her kids weird. They decided they weren't going to allow their kids. They were going to keep their kids at home. Her kids don't have a high school diploma. Because daddy Warbucks. The mama moved in when their marriage was banging up against the rocks and circling the drain. I don't know how you get your marriage back together with your mama in the house. Your mama's there while you running up on this 23-year-old boy. And I'm sorry. Y'all can say what y'all want to. I know y'all mad. People are saying, we cannot ignore Jada's emotions. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Let me tell you why. Because she's been ignoring Will's emotions.
I think
Jada's a pedophile.
What I will say is there is some manipulation.
No. Now, wait a minute. Now, I do give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
She is a master manipulator.
Well, because she's a hustler.
Hustler, baby.
She's from Baltimore.
Be more.
And so.
But everybody from Be More is not trash. Go ahead.
No, everybody. Yeah. So my point in saying this is she recognized, she's strategic.
That he's bubblegum popcorn. Will was the guy whose grandmother said, I want to listen to your music, so don't curse. And he never cursed. This guy he's the good guy. And what do good guys like? Bad girls. Jada's a bad girl. And I mean, I don't knock her hustle now, but I'm not about to sit up here and say he was defending her honor because she's not honorable. You cannot say my bald head is off limits, but my vagina is out here for the world to have an opinion on. She's sleeping with her son's friend, 23 years old. You old enough to be his mama.
Yeah.
Now, by definition, that is not pedophilia. I understand that. But it's dressed up like pedophile.
Yeah.
It's dressed up like it's wearing a pedophile's uniform.
Taking advantage of someone who, you're taking advantage of something. Because
it's dressed up like pedophilia. It may not be pedophilia, but it's wearing a pedophile's uniform.
Yeah.
Jada, ain't nothing about this right.
Right.
And then once he comes out, they have ruined this little boy's career. He cannot get a record deal. He was on his little way. I mean, his little way as the way could be.
He's the one who came out.
Yes, he's the one that came out because
because
he was emotionally destroyed.
Because even when he brought it to all of our attention, I thought this is the worst thing you could have done. As a publicist, I would have never done that because it's like you're using something
to gain notoriety.
To gain notoriety, but it's something negative, right? And so we're not even talking about the song or the album. We're talking about the relationship.
Well, he did do a song with Rick Ross.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about the song. We're not even talking about the album. We want to know more about you and Jada. And so no one remembers you, or we quickly forget your talent and all of your success and what you can do.
Well, let me tell you what I heard.
Attention.
So y'all know I used to be in the record business for about 15 minutes. So my sources, who still work in the industry, said that Will had been very instrumental in blocking him. And that's what prompted him to come out. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I have heard that. To that end, I think anytime you talk about your bedroom business, you just bitch your way out. So but I also understand, per Will and Jada, he was supposed to be there for help because he had mental health issues.
Yeah, but they're
so
not certified counselors.
Right. So either my grandmama said, if it don't make sense, it's a lie somewhere. And then when I heard that sounded like a lie. And who are the people that are responsible for them? Because now it sounds like you just preyed on a mentally sick person. But,
and you did, and they did, and she did.
And so if it's wearing a pedophile's uniform, and so I feel very strongly in saying that she used him. And let's just say, since we're talking about the emotions and Jada's dishonor, because I don't know how you call it honor, if we're talking about emotions, this young man who probably was completely enamored with Jada Pinkett Smith, and then my understanding, now listen, y'all do what y'all want to with this, because Jada ain't called me at all. Will has never rang my phone. We don't text. But my understanding is she just dropped him back with Will. That's emotionally traumatizing for a young person, because keep in mind, your brain is not fully formed until you're 25. And some people, I think, be on the delayed program. So with that being said, there is a lot that goes into being with a older woman who has groomed you, because at 23 years old and she's 50, he's being groomed. The same way we were talking about men. What we experience with Jada is toxic femininity, and we saw it on the Red Table Talk with the way she treated Will. He sat up there and cried. She said, well, you did it. It was tit for tat. It was, but I'm going to expose you on my show. I'm going to use this, my entanglement. Will got mad and said, no, let's call it what it is. All of that. Your vagina's out here for the whole world to talk about, but your bald head is off limits. I got to take a break. We're going to come right back. I want y'all to look, because some of y'all saying why Chris didn't hit him back. We're going to talk about it on the Black Tea Sip. This is Coy in a minute.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Over a year ago, we gave you the marquee. Luther Vandross and his bros in Queens. Abundantly satisfying, we did more than please. Made you part of your bit and put your mind at ease. And then we spoke on everything else in between. We ain't come for the shine, but we left with the rated highly approved. Put you back in the mood. Gave it to DJs and put the needle to the groove. All star, all minus, all par. Luther V, Sin Q, and we are loose cannons, no comparisons by far. We do what we do when we are who we are. Dope music, high jump, raise the bar. So soothing, we do what they are. The vision would seem like Stevie and Ray Charles. In the hazy room, fat sacks and fat gauze. Yeah.
Back to back nights partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you. Coming back, things, big dreams, I'm still big, and it's the big time. Bright lights in the big city, big ego. Pockets getting bigger, big Nino. Big under pressure, hit some pretty big free throws. I've been cold, started a fire, still froze. I am someone you should admire. The eye of the tiger. From now on, address me as sire. The situation could be more dire. Deep sea diver, from out the frying pan to the fire. MCs be like backseat drivers, tell them buckle up. Big trucks, we riding big wheels. Big pump, big tuck, bitch, I'm a big deal. Bigger the cap, the bigger the billing. The bigger her ass, the better the feeling. The bigger the bag, the hyper the show. I take it in cash and 20s and more. Back to back nights partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you. Coming back, back to back.
All right, and we're
partying.
back. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip, where we sip power to pour truth. And so this is my truth, because one of my sorority sisters, one of my dear friends, Rachel, is saying black women often look stronger than we are. She's right. Sometimes we play the games and act like we're hurt when we aren't. I mean, that's a form of manipulation that all black women have used. We are not as effective as our counterparts. Our tears aren't priceless like white girls, but you know, sometimes we do that too. And I think that's what happened. I want to talk about a couple of things with Chris Rock. I've been going in on Will. Somebody texted me and said you are tearing Jada out the fan.
Talk about Jada.
Is that gonna be on the new EP? So
We don't talk about Jada. No.
So I think somebody said, "Call you are tearing Jada out the fire." I'm not a Jada Pinkett Smith fan. Ever since she decided her children couldn't graduate high school because they were being bullied, I'm like, you can get a tutor, ma'am. I mean, it's a whole lot of things that the kids don't have a high school
diploma.
diploma.
Think about bullying, and it, like, I mean, you as adults, you'll be bullied in work
Environments.
Like you cannot.
Sexual harassment is a form of bullying.
Yeah, you can't get away from that. So you teach people how to handle that. You teach your kids how to create boundaries.
Absolutely.
And have standards.
Absolutely.
and expectations. You don't shield them. The world is a bully.
The world
is a bully.
Yeah. And I think, you know, my mother, every time Jada's name would come up, regardless, they said she was on Star Wars. My mom was like, she let those kids drop out of school. So now let's talk about bullying. You know, Chris Rock had a whole show. Everybody hates Chris, and he was bullied. He says that he was bullied when he was in school, and one of the reasons he dropped out was because of school being bullied, because his parents sent him to a majority, like basically a PWI, right? Majority white school. And he talked about how he was, in fact, bullied. Now, further,
I can relate.
Well, I mean, people tried to bully me too. It didn't work, child, but they tried.
Yeah, I mean,
because I was little and cute. So, but Chris talks about early in his career, he was beaten and robbed a lot, leaving the comedy clubs, and of course he didn't have money for security. So we had a conversation today about Chris Rock and, well, where were his goons? You know, because I'm thinking all black people, erroneously I'm thinking this, all black people got goons. Like, you know, your people. I know enough football players that, you know, went to the league and took their cousin, their best friend, their homeboy, their neighbor. You know, you take somebody with you as you rise to your stardom in that space, that industry, in that arena that you can trust. So Fernando Bryan took his cousin. Damian Robinson took his cousin. He had his boy Jeremy, which is his best friend.
Well,
Kurt Thomas had Harold. Like, you know, football, basketball. They take somebody with them. Chris didn't have that.
Well, I think his goon is his brother.
Well, where was his brother when Will slapped him?
His brother was, but I think that because they're both comedians, but they're very different comedians, you know, and they have very different audiences. So I think his goon is his brother. And so again, this is the Oscars though. Like, I would have never expected something like this to happen, right? So I wouldn't have prepared to, you know, it's not the Source Awards, but
it was. It became the Source Awards.
Yeah. So it was just kind
Double
of,
XL.
and I hate to say that because someone's gonna now say, but anyway,
the truth does not care who tells it.
But the truth of the matter is, I don't think he felt like he needed, you know.
But he was backstage. They showed it. I can't find. I don't know if they pulled it down. He was backstage, going off. And there were people around him standing and looking. Now, and they were all
Chris was going off?
Yes, backstage. And he was like, Will, what the? And he's going off, and there were people around, and I can't find it. Somebody sent it to me, and I tried to go back, and I don't know if they pulled it down, but you could see he was visibly upset.
Of course.
So you know, and he's like, where is Will? And he's going off, and I'm like, I have some sorors. You know, the first and the finest, the pretty girls, the 20 pearls. If someone had slapped me while I was on stage, I have some sorors that shall remain nameless that would have been like, hey, let me holler at you over here. They wouldn't have cared what was going on. It'd have been 3 or 4 of them talking about, hey,
come on, and ask questions later.
That's right. He wouldn't have been able, who would not have been able to sit through the Oscars. Now, with that being said, let's go back to Will Packer. Will Packer said that Chris Rock told the LAPD no, he didn't want Will to be arrested.
So yeah, I knew that was gonna, like, we're not gonna press charge now.
Chris Rock's team says that did not happen. See, there's a bunch of CYA going on now. Everybody's telling a different story. Because the truth of the matter is that the public outcry is WTF. What in the entire hell allows you to make amends in such a way that nothing was done to Will? So Will Packer goes out to Will and says, nobody wants you to leave. That's not what Will Packer said. He literally says, nobody wants you to leave, and allows him 5 minutes later to go up and accept his award. Will should not have been allowed to accept that award. It should have been like, we're going to accept this award in honor of Will Smith, and then you cut to commercial. Like, that should have been handled, because here is my point. All of this to say, I talked about Ketanji Brown Jackson being having to go through what she went through, and I said there's no creature on the planet more disrespected than the black woman. And the only other creature on this planet that gets to say, I don't know, where it's arguable, is the black man. Because what was demonstrated on Sunday night is Black Lives Don't Matter. Because Chris was humiliated. He was assaulted. That's assault and battery. And now, and it's different. Just think about bullying in its real terms. If you got beat up at school, I'm just going to use local schools. I know people watch this show all over the world. Hey, my people my engineers in Afghanistan that'll watch it later tonight because they're asleep now. You know, here is the thing. When you got beat up at Carter, maybe Kimball and Sock knew, but and most of them people didn't even know you. You know, your school knew. You get beat up now, it's on World Star, everybody knows. That's humiliating. This went around the world for the world to see Will Smith slap the super hell out of Chris. And I'm going to say the super hell because that's what people saying, but he didn't even hit him hard enough to stagger him. I mean, look how big Will is and look how little Chris is, and he didn't even move his feet. But to that end, we are literally out here talking about this, and no one's thinking about the pain, the humiliation, the disrespect, the hurt, and the fact that it's long lasting because it was seen all over the world. We want to disregard Chris's humiliation by justifying it that Jada didn't want anybody to comment on her exposed bald head. Put a wig on, you want nobody to talk about your head.
Yeah, so long story short, so what I'm gathering is Jada basically made this about her. It was a joke, but the joke was embodied.
Even if it's in poor taste, these are words.
But we're talking about a person who took their kids out of school because because they said they were being bullied. So she's not addressing the issue. She's
We're also talking about a person who went on the Red Table Talk and talked about her vagina.
Right.
And not just one time, not just 2 times, not thrice, not 4 times. Every time her and her mom and her weird daughter get on there, they talking up under somebody's clothes. They had Niecy Nash on there talking up under her clothes. This is what they do. So your bald head is off limits, but your vagina is for everyone can opine. If it don't make sense, it's a lie somewhere.
Yeah.
That's untrue. That's not your concern. Your concern was to put Will in a position to where he would stand up for you, even if it doesn't make sense, because it didn't. It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it was the wrong place for the gesture, definitely.
And then she laughs. After he says, Will Smith just smacked it out of me, then she's leaning forward. That's not funny. And I'm going to say this, and I got to go to break. And be honest. Any black woman who truly loves a black man understands what happens to live in this sun-kissed skin. There is absolutely no way on God's green earth that you allow your man to jump up and go and slap somebody on international television because of the ramifications.
Yeah, and if this person is not, like it was one joke out of 5, right? It wasn't like he harped on this joke and harped on her and kept going and going. Because, I mean, Regina Hall, when she made the joke, she was making a list of people who could come on stage, right?
Right.
And she said, "Oh, Will Smith," and she said, "Well, basically you can too, because we're all aware of how they operate in their marriage." So the reality of the situation is, that was okay, like you're saying, her vagina was okay, but
her vagina is listen. It's open for business. It's open to talk about. It's open to get in. It's open to opine about. Vagina is open. Her bald head, it's closed. It's closed. I gotta take a break. I'll be right back. This is called the Black Tea Sip. We're gonna unpack this a little bit more, just because I think I want to help Chris when they said Chris should have hit him back. Let's talk about it a little bit more. Jada Pinkett Smith, child, please. No honor.
Hey, this is Pastor Albert
and Lady Levon.
Catch our show, Walk the Talk Ministries, every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
On our show, you'll be able to hear real-life testimonials and real-world experiences, informing, inspiring, educating, uplifting, and encouraging you in your Christian walk.
All while having fun and being transparent. So tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for Walk the Talk Ministries,
where we just don't talk about it, we be about it.
On FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
What's going on, everybody? This is DJ Rick of Alley Rail, and every now and again, I need the help of my Fishbowl Radio Network family and friends. April 22nd, we are going to attempt and hopefully break a Guinness World Record, the most individual pair of sunglasses, and we need everybody to contribute either an old pair, a brand new pair. The only stipulation is it has to be a different pair. So, donate a pair at our boxes here in our studios. April 22nd, we hope to collect 2,300 individual pair of sunglasses. Family and friends, let's get together for Fishbowl Radio Network to have a Guinness Book World Record.
Hey DFW, it's Luna and Nika, owners of Real Dallas Properties and Management, here to serve all your real estate needs. Nika, tell them what we do.
So we're a Dallas-based boutique real estate brokerage, and we're full service, which means we can help with every and any type of real estate transaction.
That's right, we got your back at every stage of life.
Whether you need an apartment, a home rental, to buying your first home, selling that home, buying investments, to even property management.
And don't forget commercial, looking for a new space for your business? We got you on that too. You can reach us on Instagram at Real Dallas Properties or shop all properties on the market at RealDallasProperties.com.
Hi, this is Diane Marion Eunice, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. For the past 9 years, I have worked with over 300 couples in the areas of sexual health, communication, and conflict resolution. If you are interested in rebuilding connection and intimacy with your partner, please contact me today. I can be reached at 682-201-8175, or you can email me at diane@letstalkrelationships.org, or visit my website at www.letstalkrelationships.org. And remember, you can't heal if you refuse to deal.
Attention, Kiko is hiring. You heard right, Kiko is hiring. Kiko is looking for you to fill the following positions: seamstress, machine operators, forklift drivers, loaders, packers, and baggers. 2 shifts are available. First shift Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday, and 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. overtime. And second shift Monday to Friday, 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Saturday, and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. overtime. Kiko offers great medical benefits just 30 days after hire, and company match 401k. Visit us at KikoHome.com and submit your resume to Cadiano@lkiko.com. You can also apply in person at 5450 West Keith Boulevard in Dallas. All interviews are conducted in person. Don't miss this great opportunity. Get hired today at Kiko.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're back. This is Coy with the black tea sip, where we sip power to pour truth, and Lola's got something to say. Go ahead, Lola.
I did not know people were going to be so offended and upset today.
About Jada?
Like, about Jada. And
Jada ain't riding, walking, running, or crawling. What were you saying?
And so, I mean, I'm just really shocked because I decided to not even take an interest in it. And so when you told us we were going to talk about this on the show, I did do a little research. But I mean, I did not know people were so team Jada. And I know I watched the TikTok and them saying, you know, like that's a king right there and all of that. But I just feel like it was just the wrong place.
If you think that Will was justified and that he was standing up for Jada and you condone his behavior, that's why you single. Because you are the kind of woman that will put a man in a terrible predicament. Because black women who love black men don't let them take penitentiary chances. You don't.
Not on some. Yeah,
she should have jumped up and like, hey. Yeah, I didn't like it, but come on, baby. Come on.
And that would have been more of a. That would have been more. That would have been much better than him. Because the thing is, I keep going back to the fact that it has become a distraction of what, like, the Oscars can be boring.
It can be,
every
but
year
this year it was incredible.
Incredible, and we can't even really talk about that because of this huge distraction. And that is, and it was a key. The thing about the Oscars this time around was there were 2 Black women hosting it, right? And although they threw the white girl, because she definitely was thrown in.
Token.
Yeah. They threw her in, and then how many awards we received.
For Questlove, let's be honest about what's happening here. Questlove, whose career, most people don't even know the group that Questlove was in. They know him from Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And listen, Encanto, which was this Hispanic animated movie that has been seen all over the world. It won. It won an Oscar.
It won an Oscar. The song that we've changed to We Don't Talk About Jada.
Right.
Was up for an Oscar. I mean, it was just so many.
It was historic.
It was historic, and it's been,
and Will made history because he became infamous.
Like, we won't even talk about him.
I'm sick of him.
And the thing is, when he was up for an Oscar for Muhammad Ali, I definitely felt like he should have got it.
He should have won.
And then, I remember doing a theater class with Spike Lee. It was like theater and film, or something like actors and film. And he explained the Oscars, because, like, even the way Spike Lee won, he should have won for Muhammad Ali.
Right.
He should have won for a lot more
But they make you
movies.
pay your dues.
But and because I remember when I took the class, I think Denzel Washington won from Training Day, and
he just won. I was very upset. I said, well, he just won for acting like a, and my dad said, white folks win all the time for acting like white folks.
But here's the thing: he won
the philosopher quadrant.
Yeah, it's a they want to. It's for a body of work, but we don't see it that way, and that's a whole nother story. But I just feel like the whole incident took away from, like we've said, a historic.
But I think it's greater than that, because what has happened now is not an overshadowing of it, but I think some other things have been exposed, and I wanna describe those things, because I was very upset with Gayle King, which is pretty often, because I think she does a lot of stupid stuff. But Gayle King on CBS Morning News says she asked Jim Carrey about it, and I'm like, no, you are not about to ask this white man to weigh in on this black issue, and I was really, really, really upset about it. And then Jim Carrey says, to Gayle's point, she said, well, it just escalated. So he said, no, it didn't escalate. It never escalated. And that's true. There was no escalation. Mm-hmm. Like, to paint it as an escalation is a farce. It's a fallacy. It's a lie. It was no escalation. It went from 0 to 1,000 because Will chose to make it that. There was no escalation. But what Jim Carrey said was, there was no escalation. It went from 0. He said it went from 0 to that because of something Will has going on internally because of his own frustration. Mm-hmm. And that's true. Mm-hmm. And I think there are a lot of things we are not talking about here. Mm-hmm. We are not talking about Will's hurt, his pain, his embarrassment, his humiliation, because even though we may have moved on from it, he's still in that space. Mm-hmm. I think we're not talking about Chris Rock. He's having to live through his. He's going to be in that space.
But here's the thing about the difference between Chris Rock and Will Smith, and I'm going to say this because I watched Chris Rock's special. The difference between Chris Rock and Will is Chris Rock he owns his stuff. Like, even when he talks about his divorce, he definitely holds himself accountable.
Right.
He doesn't try to make it anyone else's fault. He takes in, he holds himself accountable. He takes responsibility for it.
And we saw Will did not do that.
And those are the things that Will doesn't do. What we see him do is pivot, right?
Right.
So this happens. So now you're on the Discovery Channel jumping off of, ice sculptures and diving into DCs, which is a, really dope thing. But you are not addressing the issues that are that we publicly see that you have, right? We only see you pivot and do other things so that you don't have to deal with this. And now you're sitting in a space where it's boiling over, and so this slap is not for Jada. This slap is not for women with alopecia. This slap is for you. This is you.
No, I disagree. That slap was to tell Jada, don't cheat on me again. And I'm simplifying it, but that slap was for him to prove to Jada in some form or fashion, I got you.
But
it was completely wrong.
Yeah, but I still feel like the majority of the situation was about him. And I say that because when he talks about when I guess he gave Jada a birthday party and had all these people, she didn't even want the party, and she was like, you did that for you. And he said, well, yeah. So my point in saying this is it's still his ego, right? It's still, it's about, like, he wants to be man. He doesn't want to look like a punk, even though this made you look even more of like a punk. But yeah, you definitely, it was the wrong approach. But at the same time, it still was about how you wanted us to our perception of you. He wanted to change that in a way that
I don't think it was our anything. I think it was Jada's manipulation. And I know a lot of people gonna disagree with me. I got people texting me something about, Corey, you just going in on Jada. Well, I don't know her personally or nothing. And I would tell her to her face. I think most people know that about me. But I don't know that she would care. Well, she might, because I could say something about her head. But truthfully, I just think this was a very poor excuse for trying to show your woman that you're a man and that you're her man. And I think that this failed miserably because Will and Jada don't need to be together. And the truth of the matter is that my mother says this best: you cannot love me your way, you have to love me my way. And they're not evenly yoked. And I don't understand for the life of me how Jada Pinkett Smith couldn't handle that situation. She from B-More. She always, every time you talk to her, for 20 years, she hollered about being from B-More and being street. So what happened? Somebody say something about you. What she was supposed to say is, all right, everybody heard it. I am going to do the black version of G.I. Jane, and Chris is going to produce it. Like, why you don't know how to handle this situation when you saying that you did? But I want Angelo to pull up the pictures. I want to go frame by frame. So for the people that said, because there were some people on Black Twitter that said that Chris Rock, he kind of punked out. No. Chris carried the whole race on his shoulders. He was a hero, and he was the one who saved.
For him to go backstage and be like, "Where the hell is where is he?"
Because we'd have been like WWF if he slapped me. We'd have tore the Oscars up. It would have been. It wouldn't have been a Source of Royals. It'd have been an XXL. Do you have the pictures, Angelo?
Yeah. So it didn't let me get it where it was all side by side, but I'm gonna.
Okay. So Angelo's going. Okay. So here's the slap. Go to the next frame. So in this, where, you see him hit him, but he didn't, I know this sounds childish, but he didn't hit him hard enough to stagger him. Like, he didn't even hit him hard enough to move.
Like, it was, yeah.
Like, so, was it performative? I'm because if you gonna walk up on stage and slap somebody, then you need to slap the super hell out of them. And he should have hit him hard enough to knock him to the floor so that we could have said, oh, he meant that. And we know he didn't mean it, because if you see him walk out, he's smirking. We talked about it before, button up his jacket. I don't know anybody who's going to take the time to slap another man and you'd have a scowl on your face. You would look angry. You'd be cussing coming off stage because you're mad. You're mad enough to slap someone, and that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. He was smirking. He was proud of himself. I'm going to go somewhere where Angelo's trying to pull this up. So there's this whole thing about the Smiths being Scientologists.
They addressed it. They're not.
Well, At one point they said they were, and then and now they're saying they're not. And I mean, people got a right to change their mind. I don't know how they came out of it though, because at one time they were Scientologists, and then he was talking about love, and you can't slap somebody fool and then say, "Where's the publicist?" You can't slap nobody and then start talking about love. You just, oh my God, you just an idiot all the way around, Will. But you know, one of the things about Scientology is, you know, it's almost back in the day when Jay-Z used to wear that shirt that said "Do What Thou Wilt." Stuff talked about it before. Alex Equality ushered in Satanism, and talked about you do what you want to do. It's part of Scientology is that, where you do what you want to do. Tom Cruise yells at people. There's a whole thing on Twitter. Yeah, I ain't gonna take my word for it. It's all broken down on Twitter. You know, and that's where real news comes from. Even the news get their news from Twitter. Black Twitter at that. So this guy is talking about Scientology and how they allow for poor behavior, and then you excuse it by saying that's my coping mechanism, for lack of a better term. And so there was a suggestion, I don't know if this is true, y'all. There was a suggestion that Will Smith, part of his thing is to hit. And so when he walked up there and slapped Chris Rock, it was part of his Scientology theology, for lack of a better term. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, in the streets, in the real world, if you'd have slapped the wrong person, and then they would have beat the brakes off of you. That's what I'm saying. You can take the picture down, Angelo. So with that being said, I just think that this is embarrassing. I think that there should be some very stringent punishment for Will. And I want the punishment to be so heavy that he literally looks at Jada and says, "Look what you did." Because she ain't earning no money. I mean, Jada run around here sleeping with children, so she ain't got time to go to work. So they need Will to keep making money. I don't want Will to be in a position where he's not an earner, but I want it to be so stringent that everybody that celebrated him in that moment, Denzel, hell wrong with you? Samuel L. giving him some dap, Tyler Perry, who we haven't heard from. I don't think Tyler Perry was with it. I think Tyler Perry was like, hey, that ain't what we do as black people. Wait a minute. Because Tyler Perry's perception that he gives off, because, you know, he don't call me either, but his perception is that he sends off to us is, we need to be doing this for the culture. Now you say, how you gonna do it for the culture, Cole, and he out here wearing a dress? I'm simply saying, when he talks about certain things, when he employed people and he wanted everybody to get a COVID shot, like, he's trying for the culture.
I mean, he does it for the culture.
He's
the way
employed
he does
more black people.
Yeah.
He's the Robert Townsend of our day.
He does it for the culture the way he does it. And
right.
Instead of criticizing how he does it, we need to figure out individually how we're doing what we're doing for the culture. Now, that stuff irritates me. You can't be judging and telling people what they ought to do, and you haven't done anything.
And I don't know anything that Will and Jada do for the culture. So at least Chris Rock says that he paid for a lot of people's tuition at Howard. I just think that we need to be looking at this from a different lens, and we need to stop celebrating toxic femininity, criticizing masculine toxicity, and never thinking about that black men have feelings, that they hurt, that they feel pain, and that this was a humiliating moment for Chris Rock. And for the Oscars to say we told him to leave, and then somebody else come out and say they didn't, and then for them to say that Chris Rock was given the opportunity to say he wanted Will to say, and then Chris Rock's team says that's not true. All of this is performative, and it hurts Chris Rock. And no one is talking about his pain.
Well, I will say this. Now, it does hurt I'm sure it hurts from a personal and a perspective, but like Chris Rock's tickets spiked. Like, I think all his comedy shows are sold out. Yes, everybody wants to know what happened. He's going to put it in his show,
but not this show. Because the first one, he said, I'm still unpacking. I don't think he's going to do it in this show. And I want to be real clear. Let's not just talk about Chris Rock. The Oscars, 600,000 people turned to the show less than 10 minutes after it spiked. 600%. So, or 60%, I'm sorry, 60% it spiked. 600,000 people tuned in. 400,000 tweets about the Oscars. That's never happened before. So let's be real clear. The Oscars benefited.
Yeah.
They benefited. And
off of our circus.
And let me just say this. My dear, sweet Sooooo, Alana, who I adore, shared this with me. I can't take credit for this analogy. I have to give credit where credit is due. She said to me, she was watching Atlanta. I haven't watched it since pre-COVID. I mean, since first part of COVID. She said she'd never seen it before, but it came on and they were watching it, she, her husband, and her mother. And there's a scene in this past episode where a little boy at a PWI grade school, it's an institution, but grade school wise, and he falls asleep in class. And so when he's called upon to give an answer, he can't because he's asleep. And so he jumps on a desk and starts tap dancing and dancing.
Yeah, I seen this. Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, when they call him to the office, his mom's there, the principal who's a black person, and then the white counselor, and she cuts the black principal off, and she says, well, maybe the work is just too challenging. And the mother says, no, the work is not too challenging. And the counselor suggested he go to remedial classes, right? So now he's the dum-dum. And the mama pulls him out. She said, don't care nothing about you. She said, they gonna treat you, they either gonna kill you or they're gonna be completely dismissive of you where you don't matter at all. And so she's basically telling him that. And so, you know, this whole Bojangles thing to make people laugh so you can get out of something, she likened Will's behavior to the little boy who jumped on the desk because the Oscars ratings went all the way up. You Bojangled for them. You step and fetch it for them. And they benefited, and you hurt a black man in the process. Because there's, I mean, you could have said, say, man, leave Jada out of it. And Chris would say, okay. And he would have been done with it. The walking up on stage and slapping him was to dehumanize him. And we cannot not take stock of that. We have to pay attention to the fact that there is a celebration that other people benefited from that don't look like us because this black man bojangled and slapped another black man. And it was all performative. He didn't really mean it. He wasn't really angry. He laughed in the beginning and smirked in the end. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into Lola's Love Life. And let's talk about Biden. He has said some things again supposed to get him in trouble. We'll see what happens. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
If you were bopping your head to the music saying, who is that? That is Lola of Lola's Love Life, my co-host. And, you know, she was saying she never thought about what I was saying from that perspective. Well, that's what I do. I try to unpack it all because I'm totally disgusted. And I was saying that Will and Jada need to go their separate ways. I think that she's toxic, and I think that he's a simp. And so toxicity and simplicity don't mix. And, you know, we were talking about how sometimes people just don't need to be together. And Lola was sharing with me about her dates. And she came up, she said, well, you know, sometimes they're just not into you. Mm-hmm. And so I actually had the opportunity to meet the guy that she had been dating. And she was telling me it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. At my age, you cannot lie. Don't be delusional, right? Like, don't be trying to make excuses for why someone's not calling you, why someone's not, you know, engaging or showing interest. Because it is as simple as they just may not just be interested in you anymore. And that's totally fine. Like, we all, I mean, there are people that I'm sure are interested in me that they don't have a prayer, grace, or mercy. Like, I'm not doing that
because I was swiping left,
left and right. Yeah, and so it's okay. It's not a bad thing. These people are not going to hell because they don't like me. And I hate when people do that. He gonna get his, you know, and and God don't like. It's not that. But I do think in this process of dating and finding the one or the one finding me, you have to be honest. Now, I'm not a Kevin Samuels fan. I don't care anything about that. But I do think you have to be honest with yourself. And before even starting to be vulnerable and start dating, you know, just know who you are. Right. And I do. And I know that doesn't mean I'm everybody's, you know, taste or cup of tea. And that's totally fine too. So yes, there was someone I went on a few dates with.
Several dates.
And he was, several dates. And he was really nice. I really liked him. No, he was not 6'5", but he was still nice.
I don't know why you want somebody 6'5", you're short.
That's why.
It's not gonna line up right, Lola.
It lines up perfectly for me. I have no complaints. I think there's a song called "I Won't Complain." Anyway, and nice guy, cool guy. Definitely, we had a lot in common.
I liked him. Let me tell you why I liked him. You know, we were running that campaign, and so we didn't win, and we were there, and you know, it's kind of somber. And he just jumped in and was able to, because my man would have been like, how long are we gonna be over here? Because he would not have found that conversation to be something he wanted to engage in, because he would have kind of been rolling this out. And now he might have, knowing him, he might would have said 3 or 4 words and shocked the consciousness of everybody there, where they would have been forced to move on. But he was like, oh, okay, that's what we're talking about. I like that about him, that he could just come into a situation. He was willing to come into the situation. I liked him. He was cool. He could hold a conversation. He didn't just, you know, go with the flow because that's what someone else said. And so but I do get your point about just kind of falling flat. But I know that sometimes when dating, men, when they really start to like someone, and men have insecurities too. I mean, I don't think that we allow for them to have that. I'm certainly not saying make an excuse. You know, excuses are tools of incompetence. They build monuments of nothingness. And for those that dwell on them are seldom good for anything else. But I do think that sometimes they pull away because of their own insecurity. That's not your problem to solve. But I wonder sometimes if it really is they're just not into you, or if, in the words of Jim Carrey, they have something frustrating within themselves. And then, you know, you can't fix that either.
Right. So here's the thing. Whether it's they're not into me or they got their own personal issues, again, this is nothing I can do about any of that.
It's not your problem to solve.
And the reality is, because if someone's not into you, or if someone's not into me, I'm not about to go change me so that or chase them. And like I mean, that's just too much work.
And ladies, if he was calling all the time and he stopped, that's not your problem to figure it out why he stopped. You know, years ago, I was dating this guy. We were dating. We liked each other, all of that. He called me, and I was asleep. And he said he was out with his frat brothers. And so I was groggy, you know, like, hello. And I found out later he thought someone else was there. Well, there's no way for me to fix that. You know, because by the time I found out that that's what he was about, that's what he thought, you know, I was like, well, these are, you know, he's been hurt in the past. I can't help him lick his wounds. That's what he thought. It was untrue. He never addressed it. I couldn't address it. I couldn't fix it. And guess what? I have learned from that situation, and I have moved on in great fashion. Some of this stuff you can't fix for these people.
No.
And you have to know yourself enough to walk away.
It's not. It's sometimes, most of the time, and I could be wrong. It's not. It's nothing for you to fix, right?
That's right.
And so if there, because I mean, it is what it is,
right?
And so I did, you know, like this person, but in that I was honest with this person too. Hey, you know,
what's going on?
I said there has been a shift. And there may be a lack of interest with me on your part. And so if that's the case, you know, I respect it. And and the reason why I said this was because said this to him because I wanted the expectation to be that I am always going to be honest. And I'm not going to assume. I'm going to ask.
Right.
And whatever answer you give me, I have to trust that's the honest answer. And of course, there was a response. You know, he was like, "Oh no, that's not the case. I can't believe you feel that way." Well, I can. And so,
well, then what are you gonna do about it now that I feel this way?
So yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
So now that you know that this is how I feel, and nothing has changed, obviously. You know, there's nothing else I can do.
Right.
So address the issue, right? Open communication, be clear about what you feel.
But you have to have a certain amount of, well, I'm going to go ahead and just jump out here and say it completely. You have to have a certain amount of self-esteem to allow yourself to be that vulnerable where you can say, hey, these are the things I'm feeling. And I think a lot of times when people are dating, they don't do that. In the relationship I'm in now, we do that. And he's not a talker, but I'm like, you know, sometimes he get a little frustrated with me, and then he will talk. But you know, he also is mature enough to let me have my say. Sometimes he's equipped to say his say back, and then other times he has to kind of shut down and then regroup and process what I'm saying. But that's a certain level of self-esteem and maturity that allows us to have that kind of, because people tell me all the time they want a kind of relationship I have.
Well,
and
you
I'm
have
like,
to give
no, you
people
don't. You don't know what it is.
You have to give people what you want, right? So if I'm saying, you know, we want people to be honest and communicate and be, you know, with us and let us know what's going on, then that I have to do that too. So that's
but isn't
why
that scary sometimes?
It is scary, because if this person comes back and says you're just not as cute as I expected you to be, then what do you do, right? It's like, oh my God, you know, because you know, my looks are my looks. But my point in saying that is, yes, it does take a certain amount of self-esteem, but also it's because I am being very intentional, I'm open to hearing what it is. Like, well, you know, you did this, and I don't know if that's a habit, or like I even have gone to the extent of telling a guy, listen, I'm not the best dater in the world. Like, I just, you know,
well, we're busy.
Yeah, and so I have incorporated dates in my work.
Yes.
Just so
yes,
I can.
You did.
Yes, literally.
You did.
I do that because, it's not about people pleasing, but it's more so like, listen, I don't want this person to think I'm not interested, because I am, but I am really, really busy.
I
need you to see my life and see what I go and see how it is from a day-to-day base, so you can understand. And I mean, I've had guys be like, you know, everyone says that they're busy and they ain't got time and they a boss and da-da-da-da-da. And then
you come go with me.
Then, you know, and I don't even say stuff like that, like I'm a boss and all that.
No, you don't.
I don't do any of that. And so for them to see it, then it's like, oh yeah, she is. Now, but to that point, I want people to see what my life looks like and understand that, I'm not brushing them off or anything, but also see if this is something you can be okay with, because it's wonderful. Oh, she got her out. God, especially black men, I can only tell they're excited in the first 6 weeks that you got your own business and you're doing all these things and you have this great resume and all of that, and then they have to decide if this is what they really want, because you can say it until you see it, and when you see it, you may be like, I'll prefer the teacher. She has summers off, and that's fine. I'm not a teacher, so
and
that's why
there's no PTO for what we do.
There's no because I'm looking for somebody who's gonna put me on their insurance. So I'm just saying, no shade. I'm just
but it's true, because when you are an entrepreneur Negro trying to become the best entrepreneur that you can, people don't understand. And for me, prior to the relationship I'm in now, is dating, separated, divorced. I had guys that really just didn't understand how I move, because, there are times that we are with a lot of men. These ain't nobody you want to be bothered with, child. But some men can't handle that, and I think your point about being honest and being intentional is spot on, because sometimes when you, male or female, when you need to deliver a message, it's not always for that other person. Sometimes it's for you. Like, you need to get this off of you. These are things that you need to say that you are personally feeling, so that you feel better, because you're walking around with a bunch of stuff pent up and you need to tell. And then other times you don't need to say anything, because in the words of my mama, you don't have to call nobody to quit them.
Oh,
absolutely. You just move on.
Just move on.
Yeah.
And the thing, and to your point, yes, say it. Whatever it is, move forward. When I start feeling like I'm on an audition, I'm going to find another. I'm always the star. Amen. And my whole thing is, even in, and I don't know if we can say this on self-esteem. And I don't know if I can say this on here, but
this is Black Tea
but
Sip,
I will say this: even in a hoe moment, you don't need to remind me. Don't put my shoes at the door. I know where to go. Okay. So my point in saying that is, don't do that. And so my point in saying that about when I feel like I'm auditioning, like it's multiple people. I shouldn't know that.
Handle your business and keep your stuff tight.
They should know that either.
Right.
I should be able to go to their house and feel if someone else lives there, that we got a problem. You messy.
Right.
And how I know you messy is because I know somebody else is here and you wanted me to know.
Yeah.
And so my point in saying that is, always make me feel like a star on the night of my show.
Hey.
Now, when somebody else come, I don't care. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Hey. That ain't got nothing to do. But when I feel like I'm auditioning.
That's right.
And I may be in last place.
Yeah.
Who else is up for the part?
Yeah.
Good luck and congratulations. I'm out.
Congratulations. Yes.
Goodbye.
But I think my mother used to say, you don't necessarily want a line in front of you or behind you, and you have to make up your mind how you feel about if you at first of the line, but it's still a line behind you. Like, you have to decide. And I think what happens is you have to decide as a woman. Or I guess even as a man, but I can't, I'm not a man. But as a woman, you have to decide what it is you can handle and what you can't. And I think a lot of problems come in dating. Women in particular, we meet a guy, we like him, we stop returning these other phone calls. I have a friend that was like, oh no, you need to let him know. She was talking to another friend. You need to let him know. And he's been, okay, you've only been dating this guy a month, 6 weeks. Everybody got somebody when you meet him. Because who wants somebody don't nobody else want?
And the thing is, and that's fine, because nothing's exclusive. It's just that.
But don't be messy enough for I'm starting to have feelings or I become uncomfortable in this moment because you can't handle your business.
Right. And the thing is, I'm dating other people too, because I'm dating.
Because I said
I'm dating. Yes.
You cannot. You gotta date.
Because I'm dating, and in this particular person, I like them more than
right. But I forced you. to continue to date.
Because here's the thing, even as a person that's working a lot or works a lot, it's like, okay, I want to be with someone. See, you seem like a good guy. I put you in this slot and I keep going.
That's right.
Right.
That's
and
right.
so I put this person.
Look, what's my philosophy? Takes 5 to make one man. Take 5 men to make one man. Okay.
I don't know how I'm gonna do all that, but yeah,
Mr. Showtime. You know, he will take you out. He want to wine and dine you, but that's somebody you see once every quarter, because you know that ain't really what you're looking for. You have Netflix and Smile guy. That's the dude that's pouring out rain. You want a little Paris at the house. You gonna rub your feet, watch a good movie. That's what he's for. That's no snuggle bunny. You need Mr. Fix It. If he can't fix it, he knows somebody that can. He gonna pay to fix it. So
Right.
your toilet is overflowing. You call him. He coming straight through. That's his role. Okay, and then you have Mr. Moneybags. You know, you don't see him all the time, but he's gonna come through. He's down for a good time. He pay for everything. You and your girls. He wind down. He gonna slip you a little something when you happy hour on vacation. That's what that is. And then you have a floater. When them other guys are busy, you got him. Every now and then you hit a trifecta, and you get a man that's got 3 of those 5 qualities. Period. And if that happens, I am suggesting to you, if y'all are not exclusive and he has not let you know what his intentions are, then even if you have that trifecta dude and it's showtime, you need a backup dancer and a hype man at all times.
Yeah, and so to that point, you know, I think it's okay. When you're dating, I think I have discovered that you have to be okay with someone not just not being into you. It doesn't. That does not define you,
You're right?
Or define
it doesn't
me,
dim
you know?
your light.
It doesn't.
But let's talk about quickly the dudes that go on a date, people that don't know how to date. Man or woman that don't know how to date. You recently had a date with a guy and he wanted to tell you about his ex-wife.
Oh God! And so let me say this. So on the date, he asked, you know, what were my expectations in a relationship, just general questions. And so I'm like, oh, I'm just looking for someone who will support my goals personally and professionally, right? And, you know, I told him, you know, my parents are still together, so I'm all about, building with someone, you know, us being a team, things of that nature. And so I feel like support was all he heard. And
he didn't understand emotional support. He thought you meant financial support.
Yeah. So yes. So apparently this guy is definitely well off. And he got married young. If they were married 15 years and we're around the same age, you know.
So he got married around 25.
Yeah, about 25, and I'm assuming. And so they have 3 kids, all this stuff. Yes, I learned all of this. And
at the first date?
Yes.
My Lord.
Yeah, it was an impromptu blind date. But so, you know, this is the first time we're meeting. It was a suggestion through a friend. So when he starts to speak, he's like, well, you know, my ex-wife, I make all the money and I have all the stuff, and, you know, I put her through school and she got three degrees, and she didn't, basically he paid for her school and she's never worked. She's never had to, because he made a great amount of money and he still does. And so he said it once.
Didn't want her to work. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So let me say this. He said it once, and I'm like, okay. Then he says it again.
About his ex-wife?
Yes, because now he's asking me about my professional background, and I don't know if and at this point I don't know where this is going. So I'm like, you know, you keep.
But this is the guy that looked you up on LinkedIn while y'all was sitting there.
Oh yes, he did look me up on LinkedIn.
While you're
sitting
there.
That's when he was like, I mean, let's be clear. My ex-wife, you know, if she would actually work, she could be making 6 figures, and I'm not like, and I at this point.
So do you want me to date your ex-wife?
Well, my whole thing is, you keep talking about how she never worked, and then she can make 6 figures. You need a resume.
She has no work
So
experience.
she has no work experience, and she lacks skill set. Now, I'm not comparing myself to her. What I'm explaining I did feel like he was comparing her to me.
Yes.
And I thought,
and so why as a man who's on a date with another woman feel the need to let the date know that your ex-wife could have achieved? Like, is this a polyamorous situation?
Potential. And it's like, I don't know. And so I think he definitely I think he's still upset and bitter. I really don't think it was about me. No. I think it was mutual. I don't, it was so
he didn't
hard.
tell that part.
Yeah, he didn't tell that part.
Okay.
So, and so he was like, well, I disagree. And so I said, well, when it comes, I said, having educational certifications are wonderful. And that may be important, but what's required is experience and skill set.
That's right.
Right? And so,
that's why they have a job description. And then you decide what you can do.
The
with that
waiter
job
is
description.
laughing too. He's like, the waiter's like, listen, because it's pretty empty because we met up about 10 because I was leaving a fundraiser. And I explained him, I said, oh, well, I was leaving a fundraiser. But
the
this
fundraiser
is cool.
I refused to go to. Go ahead.
So anyway, so it's late, so it's not many people, but it's cool. And it wasn't even at like in a luxurious place. I mean, it was just like a little bar. But so my point in saying all of this is the waiter's laughing, and he continued, and I'm like, at this point, check, please. Yeah. I said, don't leave. Let's have that check. And so he's like, don't worry. He's trying to clean it up. And I'm like, at this point,
it's too far gone.
It's too far gone.
You know why? Because people do not know how to date.
Mm-hmm.
I have dated, gone on a date, and the guy wants to tell me about his baby mama, and he's calling her out of her name. Mm-hmm. Why would I sit there and allow you to do that? Mm-hmm. I've literally walked out on the guy and said, listen, she wasn't out there when you were laying up making that baby with her, and I'm disinterested in talking about her, and I know too much about you from this conversation. I'm out. Because part of dating is for me to get to know you, and if your background or your past comes in, there'll be a time for that, but it's certainly... they're either tearing them down or building them up. Either way, this is out of line.
She don't need to be it. Right. I'm not gonna bring anybody into this date that's not here because they can't defend themselves. And on top
of that, I'm not trying to date them.
Right, and not on top of that, they're not a part of. They have no space here.
Right.
So anyway, so I did post it. I thought it was hilarious driving home last night. I posted it. Most people think it's hilarious, but let me tell you what happened. The bitter men start coming out. This man basically said to me, he was like, I think I missed something somewhere. You don't need a resume to make six figures. And then he listed all of his accomplishment. So my response to that, well, this long post on this feed is your resume. And so, because that is what a resume is. It doesn't all, the letterhead is your name. Like, I like, come on now. Like, let's use some common sense.
But that's the point. And people listen for a response. They don't listen for an understanding. He read to respond, not to understand.
Right.
But he'll be somebody sliding your DM asking you out. No, sir, because you're an idiot.
And then another guy basically was like, I was petty. Now, and the thing is, you're right. I don't have no fight in this game.
No dog in the fight.
No dog in the fight. I don't care. At this point, I don't care what I say to him because I have decided this is going nowhere fast.
Right.
And so the thing, and I'm telling y'all, these were all divorced men. And so that was scary too. Cause I've never been married. And actually the guy that I said is just not into me, he's divorced.
I didn't realize
that. He's a nice guy. I don't remember him talking about his ex-wife one time. Maybe that, it just didn't go right or whatever.
Because he knows how to date.
Right, he knows how to date.
He doesn't know how to call back.
You're not going to lay the burdens of your failed relationships on my back. You're not going to do that.
But then he's damaged. So now you have to decide. You have to listen with a listening ear because this person is damaged. So you can't be out here like, all the king's horses and all the king's men trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You can't be that. You can't date that way. That is not.
And I want Kevin
role.
Samuels to talk to them. Because the reality is this, like, in as much as men may be simple and women are complicated,
men are complicated.
Yeah, because this was drinks at a local bar at 10 o'clock. No one should be having that deep or that intense conversation. It needs to be about March Madness, the Sweet Eight,
Chris Rock
and Will Smith. It needs to be everything but
his ex-wife.
And how her and I are equals or whatever. Cause I really kind of started feeling like, are you comparing me to her?
Oh, he was absolutely comparing.
And I'm looking at him like, no, because I only have a bachelor's, and I've done well with the 1 degree that I have. Okay. Oh, and some certifications. Yeah. But I did tell him, it sounds like you've wasted money on paper you cannot take to heaven. And I'm so sorry for that. So in saying all of that, I have recognized, even with the post, it was funny. Like, I'm not mad and I'm not going off on him because he sent me an apology.
You're not Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm really not. I went to sleep. I woke up, I didn't know so many people found it just as humorous as me. Yeah. But then there's another side, right, of all the people who are going to educate me.
On you.
On me.
Yeah.
And the reality is.
And a lot of bitter men have a tendency to do that. They want to tell you what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Sir, if you're not trying to date me, then why do you think this is beneficial? You've wasted all your gangster typing skills because they, these bathroom gangsters, they stand in the mirror and talk noise to themselves before they start their commute so they feel better about the drive in.
I mean,
these people are not effectuating any real change.
Right. Your end goal has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But you are attempting to try to challenge myself.
But you know what? It's also to tear you down. And
I was going to say that.
You know what? Like, be very careful, women. When men want to tell you what's wrong with you, that is a form of manipulation to tear you down so that then they swoop in and then you start to feel, and this happens a lot, Jada Pinkett Smith, this happens a lot where people tear you down, tell you what's wrong with you, then swoop in and act like they're the only ones that can relate to you, that can be with you, that can spend time with you because all these other things are wrong with you and they're willing to
and they're doing it
it.
out the kindness of their heart. Let me tell you something. If I ain't shit, then leave my ain't shit alone.
Well, yeah.
And I mean that.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that and then ask to come over it. You're
nuts.
You're nuts. You're nuts. Because here's the thing. Even if I'm crazy and you want to see crazy, who's crazy?
Right.
Because when I see
the real
crazy,
ticky boom boom.
I don't want to see crazy.
I run away.
Yeah, you know what? You've shown me who you are. And so I'm very clear on that. But I mean, I never thought, and I have to say, thank you, but I never thought that I would have so many dates and have so many experiences because the reality is there's more positive to it than negative.
Sometimes you just meet really good friends.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and
but I'm not looking for a friend. I got plenty of friends.
Well,
Thank
sometimes you just need that dude you can call and say, hey, I got a flat tire.
Yeah.
And you know what? He going to come through because you still need Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah.
All right, I got to wind this down. I said I wanted to talk about Biden, so let me say this. Biden has opened up the reserves. More reserves than in the history. Obama didn't do it. And gas prices should be going down. He's looking for clean fuel, and he did say that Putin must go. Now, they're saying that's a gaffe and that he didn't mean a regime change, but we need a regime change. And so on our way out, we are going to play something that someone did in Plano, the city council, who he's calling for a regime change. This is Core with the Black Tea Sip. We'll do it again, same bad time, same bad channel. We'll have lovely Lola with Lola's Love Life. We're going to continue to unpack internet dating, meeting, greeting, and sometimes getting away from them. But I think it's important for us to have these conversations about men and women. I want to leave with this. Chris Rock deserves some respect Put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
We'll Jada riding, walking, running, or crawling, and we'll do it again next week. Love, peace, and hair grease, and we're out.
When I'm in the booth, spitting on the mic, anti-vax. Putin hates all of them blacks. Putin is a bad racist. Put him in the ground, white or brown. And I'm in plain old town. And you know you just got found. I'm a pimp on a blimp. Unless a steak and shrimp. No, you can't stop my shine. I'm number 99. And you know I grind and shine. And you know I do it all the time. One more time, I'm teaching class. This is your whole pass. Zelensky is a VIP. Ukraine and I go insane. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. You know that is the plan. I'm a Zelensky stan. I love you, Vladimir Zelensky. You are so smart. What's the smell? Did somebody fart? No way. What can you say? Vaccinate, straight or gay. I love you, and I love to rhyme and grind all the time. And you got that sanitizer, and you know I got that Pfizer. You know I stick it in my vein. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. Do it for the Ukraine. Before I go insane, let me antibacterial on my body. At the party, sipping Bacardi. You know the flow. And I am a pimp, cause I am on the blimp. Eating lots of steak and shrimp. One more time, I'm 99. And you know I grind and shine. Gas price is way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. Gas price is way too high. Vladimir needs to die. I'm the truth in the booth. Take my picture. I'm a winner. I'ma eat you for dinner. Okay.
You want to go to?
I just want to say, I love you. We need.